Where'd you get these?
Got it. I'm thinking.
I wanna be the very best.
Serial number ZN003J. Name Ramochis.
Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat.
Return this land.
You talking to me?
No one ever was.
Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Developed at Kronos, Japan, and successfully adjusted at an early stage to be a hyper-muscle model.
You talking to me?
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass 2 years.
To train them is my cause.
The adjustment of this model of zoonoid was so successful that the process would work on any human being.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Motherfucker! Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
My bunny.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Fireman Jack, and this is Skullgato for Summers.
Thanks, I hate it.
Today, we're looking at Heat Guy J, a show about a boy and his robot fighting against... Whoops, that's from the Giant Robo script. A show about a lazy and incorrigible man-horde named Daisuke Aurora, and his by-the-book mansplaining philosopher android, J. It follows the Special Service Division of the Bureau of Urban Safety and their misadventures as they uncover a conspiracy to overthrow the government.
While the premise is nothing new, it being a buddy cop show and all, the world building is what really makes this show interesting. The setting takes place in a giant metropolis called Judo, a somewhat futuristic city that, for all we know, is built on top of the ruins of an old New York City.
From the Continental Hotel to the Brooklyn Bridge, this dystopian nightmare New York comes complete with its own government. If that's not terrifying enough of a concept for you, Judo is one of 7 megacities that are the last bastions of human civilization on the planet.
Don't worry, it gets worse. There is also a traveling group of super hobos called the Celestials that serve as custodians to these cities. But if someone happens to get a wild hair up their ass and accost them for whatever reason...
Mercenaries, pull back. We can't do that. We're not allowed.
The Celestials will wash their hands of the city, condemning its inhabitants forever.
While it doesn't explore that little bit of world building any further or delve into the events that led to humanity only having 7 major cities left on the planet, Heat Guy J has enough going on to keep you entertained. Like the prison where you're turned into a furry super soldier as a reminder of the crimes you've committed.
Those who are sentenced to more than 100 years are forced to undergo DNA modification and are surgically altered to resemble beasts.
The crime rate would skyrocket if that was real.
Or the group of Luddite cultists that believe you should never help anyone ever, because independence and self-sufficiency is more important than grandma's spine.
Are you okay?
Get away! Don't insult me like that!
It's one thing to forsake technology, it's another to review modern civilization.
You're an adult, right? Can't you do things by yourself? That's so embarrassing!
Viewing any advancement in quality of life, such as helping someone, and rejecting that concept as a whole is just stupid.
A man who can't live alone has only one choice, and that is to die.
If living in a dystopian nightmare with an autocracy frightens you, and slumming it in a mountain village like a 4th century islander is too much, you could always try living in a low-income housing environment underneath the city, where strangely death isn't as commonplace as on the surface. And you're less likely to get dysentery from constantly rummaging around in the sewers.
Those kids should just play in traffic on the surface instead. But regardless of where you live, just remember that the likelihood of you getting cut in half by a renegade furry with a daito is low, but never zero.
If you're having trouble getting a job in Judo, you can always work for the Mafia, where you'll be subjected to the whims of a juvenile sociopath, Claire Leonelli, who is also a vampire.
He's not actually a vampire, that's just a title they give to the head of all the major crime families in Judo. I don't know why they wouldn't just use Dracula instead. It's not like that isn't public domain.
What is a man?
In actuality, the real head of the crime families is a man by the name of Shogun. You can't operate in Judo without his blessing, or at least that's what the show would have you believe. Because whenever a family has beef with one another and threatens to destabilize Judo, he steps in and tells them to politely stop. But if you don't, Shogun will have you removed faster than a disgruntled CEO
We here at the viewing session do not condone violence against real people, because it goes against YouTube's TOS. However, we find the events and tragedies surrounding them very funny.
Wait. What's that sound?
Oh good, you hear it too.
Kids, did you know that getting hit with a 50 cal BMG can empty your entire abdominal pelvic cavity faster than a 5-alarm chili burrito from Taco Bell? This man should be 5-layered kinds of dead. His office is going to require a little more than bleach and club soda to get rid of those stains.
Who is that guy?
I have no idea.
Anyways, the real main antagonist of this show is the dated 3D CGI. Thankfully, they use it sparingly, and it certainly isn't the worst looking CGI we've seen. It still looks better than most modern day equivalents, which should tell you something about the animation industry, especially when you compare it to the Netflix Baki show, which also attempts to use both 2D and 3D animations at the same time.
What the hell?
Except when Heat Guy J does it, it doesn't look terrible.
Well, it's that time again. While it's a dumb, fun buddy cop show with some interesting world building, robots, furries, and an inconsistent tone, the likes of which you can only find from an early 2000s anime, we here at the viewing session give it our seal of approval.
Heat Guy J doesn't do anything new and throws a bunch of things at a board to see what sticks, but has fun in such a way that you can't help loving it. Which just goes to show that you don't need to have the deepest lore or the best character development to make something enjoyable. I mean, those certainly help, but still.
Also, what the fuck is wrong with Daisuke's pistol? Why would you design it like that?
Good night, everybody.
That's all she wrote.